In West Virginia, we're known for two things: crackheads and crackheads who have documentaries. Yes, it's a real thing. No, please don't watch it. Well, now that I think about it, it's actually three things. We do love to have some hot and steamy love time with our relatives. Not too long ago, I actually drove by some crackheads on the corner of the street, and I threw a little bag of sugar out, and I watched them fight to the death over it. It was a pretty cool day. I decided to go out of the norm and look up some spooky stuff for Halloween. I was going to play some games for Halloween, and I did record a video of me playing some scary games, but I decided to scrap that, and we're going to look up some West Virginia ghosts and legends, see if we can find some funny ones, see if we can find some interesting ones, and I'm going to take you guys along for the bumpy journey. Yeah, it's going to be pretty bumpy because, you know, you're going to be sitting in the back of my pickup truck that has a wooden bed on it because that's the only kind of trucks we drive here in West Virginia. And there may be a few deceased fetuses in the back because we do use them as ambulances. They double as ambulances and like hospital beds, so there may be a few babies back there that didn't really make it through the pregnancy procedure. So now that you've found a clean spot to sit in the back of the truck and you're ready to go on for the ride, let's get straight into these West Virginia myths. And first up on the monster list here, I had to put Mothman. And Mothman is like the most infamous character in the West Virginia lore. He's one of those characters that's in the base game always. He's never a DLC character. Everyone knows about him. When he was first spotted in 1966, he was referred to as the man-sized bird creature, which I'm sure he was just out to get groceries or something that night. His wife was nagging him. The last thing he needed was to be called a man-sized bird. And Mothman is from the Point Pleasant area, which is in Ohio, but like it's right on the border of West Virginia and Ohio, so they just kind of group him in with the West Virginia characters and monsters and whatnot. And naturally, with Mothman being this much of a celebrity, he was put into probably the most massively successful Fallout game to date, Fallout 76, which was based on West Virginia. But I do gotta give Fallout 76 some credit, visual and atmospheric wise. The visuals and atmosphere look exactly how West Virginia is in real life, especially with the monsters in the game. They portray drug addicts and crackheads spot on, and I gotta give them credit for that. So if you were wanting to visit or tour West Virginia for some ungodly reason, make sure to check out Fallout 76's visuals first to know what you're going to be getting into and what it's going to be looking like when you arrive. And also, if you do go on a tour, if you decide to take the tour route, don't stray off the path. This holds true in West Virginia more than any other foreign country where you may be going on a cruise line. Do not stray away from the tour group in West Virginia, or you'll surely get mugged by some meth heads. And our next monster, we have the Snarky Owl, not the gnarly cow. You're not about to see a cow shred a skateboard, although that would be pretty sweet. And supposedly the Snarky Owl has been around since the 1700s, and for those of you who can't count or didn't get an education, that's about as old as Betty Watt. And just to sum it up for you guys, it's basically just a giant wolf who appears out of nowhere and scares people just as like a prankster. He's like a massive prankster. He's like a YouTube prankster who's coming in the game way before everyone else and staying way after everyone's already left. And he keeps up the same douchebag standards. He'll just jump out in the middle of the road and scare people for no reason, make them stop their car and make them thinking they're about to hit something, but he's just pranking them. So yeah, the Snarky Owl is not someone you'd want to invite to a party, and also someone you don't want to say his name 3 times. Not because he's going to pop up behind you, just because you're going to get so tongue twisted you're going to completely say something else. Snarky Owl, Snarky Owl, Snarky Owl. See? It just doesn't work. So yeah, besides just being a big wolf who jumps out randomly at people and scares them, he walks like a human sometimes on his back legs just because why not freak some more people out. The website that I was reading that says he does these things, like he'll jump out and walk on his back legs and everything, it says that he challenges travelers on its way. So I'd imagine by challenging travelers on their way, it means he just like kind of wants the Yu-Gi-Oh duel with him, Pokemon duel, whatever cards they have on him. He always has both of his decks on hand. And yeah, Snarky Owl's also in the West Virginia simulator. Next up here we have the Flatwoods Monster, also known as the Green Monster, or the Fake Candlestick Monster. I made up that last name. It's not really called the Fake Candlestick Monster, but you can't tell me it doesn't look like a fake candlestick. It's appeared to have shown up after some kids or teenagers saw a UFO crash from the sky in 1952. So they were probably having some pretty stinky long pube sex when they seen it crash from the sky, and they were like, hey, we should probably pull up our pants and like get our pubes caught and stuck in it a couple times and like pull them out and have to like yank it really hard, just like get the pubes out and like zip it up, and then go check out this UFO that crashed. And this thing also shares the land of the crackheads in that one game that copied West Virginia. And next up on our impressive roster of monsters, we have the Watt Thing. I actually think I've seen one of those. Not really big, kind of mediocre, honestly. And it only gets to the point where it's kind of solid, but it's still kind of squishy and a little. Oh, you mean this Watt Thing? Oh, okay, I got you, man. I got you. That's what I meant. That's what it looks like. It just looks like a weird looking sheep. That looks like an animorph, or an interspecies baby between a sheep and a human, which Wouldn't really surprise me because, you know, after all, it is West Virginia. And it's also known as the Watt Creature, which is a pretty big difference from the Watt Thing. The Watt Creature. I'd see how people could mistake them for different monsters, but it's the same name for the same monster. And a quote from this website about it says, Kanawha Valley has been described as being as large as a bear, though shaped like a dog. Its saber-like fangs extend from a ravenous mouth, and the beast is covered in filthy white woolly fur. And it's also related to the sheep squatch. So they see each other at family reunions where their 90-year-old grandma mixes them up sometimes. You know, because they both have the white fur that's woolly, and you know, they kind of look the same. So their 90-year-old grandma sometimes get them mixed up at the family reunions. She's like, "Hey, white creature, come over here. Grammy wants to talk to you." And he's like, "Grandma, I told you for the 90th time. I'm not the white thing. I'm the sheep squatch. The white thing's over there at the punchline, Grandma. I'm the sheep squatch, remember?" And our last monster here to wrap us all up and give us a good conclusion, the Grafton Monster. Yes, this is a drawing of the actual monster. Yeah, that's what it supposedly looks like. Solomon Grundy, born on Monday. You won't like me when I'm angry. What are you doing in my swamp? And in the biggest shocker of the year, he's also in Fallout 76. Everyone is falling out of their seats right now. Few people were having heart attacks. It's just so surprising. This is why West Virginia is amazing when it comes to the monster lore. So yeah, whenever I see these monsters, I like to imagine that they came from crackhead sightings and reports, like the people off of Mountain Monsters, like those kind of people reporting it. And it just makes everything a little more entertaining and a little bit more funny. But yeah, these are some of the most solid ones that I found. If we were to have to compete into a Thunderdome, this would be the lineup of West Virginia's Thunderdome. I assure you though, these monsters are the least of your worries when you're walking down an old road or in the mountains of West Virginia. You really got to worry about the inbreeds with rifles. They may not sound dangerous, but I assure you, they don't understand English and they will shoot on sight. So if you do go traveling in some abandoned parts of West Virginia or just in the mountains, make sure you bring an inbreed translator and you should be okay. And until next time, peace out.